liberation struggle to present its bids and priorities for the 2024 national budget and revenue sources. This inaugural meeting between the Portfolio Committee and the Ministry takes place at a time when the Ministry was created by the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe on 11 September 2023. Previously, veterans issues were handled by a department under the then Ministry of Defense and War Veterans Affairs. The creation of this ministry attests to His Excellency's commitment to ensure that there is holistic attention to issues relating to the welfare and economic empowerment of our veterans. And it is our sincere hope that the Portfolio Committee will, as usual, lend its weight and support to the new ministry in the discharge of its mandate. And the ministry's mandate, as communicated by OPC last week, are first, to expedite the operationalization of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Act, Chapter 1712, to finalize the vetting, registration, and the documentation of bona fide veterans of the liberation struggle, to institute measures to accurately record, document, and preserve the history of the liberation struggle. This is a new mandate in addition to what the former government was doing all along, to institute measures to economically empower and improve the livelihoods of veterans of the liberation struggle, to administer funerals of veterans of the liberation struggle other than national heroes, and to maintain internal and external liaison channels to do with the veterans of the liberation struggle. And just briefly, the ministry's clients, first we've got the veterans of the liberation struggle and their dependents. And the term veterans of the liberation struggle is a collective term that refers to the four categories which are now recognized in terms of the Constitution. These are the first war veterans, who are the trained fighters, the ex-political prisoners, detainees and restrictees, war collaborators, and then the non-communicators. So that's the first client group. And our second group is that of war victims and their eligible dependents. And then our heroes, dependents, both national, provincial, and district, to look after their dependents. And let me then go straight into our priorities for 2024. The first one is the mop-up vetting of war collaborators and the non-combatant carers. In 2022, we vetted a total of 110,645 war collaborators and 10,022 non-combatant carers. The financial resources required for the vetting exercise, as well as the huge numbers that turned up, meant that not all applicants would be vetted. And as it stands, we have got about 93,363 individuals who were not vetted, and some of them are killed against the outcome of that vetting process. And it is critical that we do a mop-up exercise, and that's our first priority for the year 2024. And that mop-up exercise is part of the implementation of the Veterans or operationalization of the Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Act. The second priority is the improvement in the quality of our statutory benefits. There is need to improve provision of statutory benefits in the form of medical and funeral benefits. And this will be achieved through decentralization of the budget to provinces and subsequently districts, as well as increased budgetary support. The third one is economic empowerment through investment and projects and programs. Our economic empowerment thrust will be diversified in 2024 to include an investment dimension, and this is in addition to the usual projects and programs. The ministry intends to deepen the integration of the veterans community in the mainstream economy so that they can play a meaningful part in the establishment of the prosperous and the empowered affirmative income society in 2030. The ministry intends to establish business startup units in the country producing world-class goods and services for the global market. The ministry's intention is that veterans should take a leading role in implementing government's private sector-led development strategy by making Zimbabwe an investment destination of choice. It is envisaged that the Ministry will initiate investment projects that will benefit the nation whilst at the same time empowering our veterans. Documentation of the Liberation War history. The Ministry intends to document the Liberation War history from a vast array of historical records and testimonies of surviving veterans and the people who participated in the war. The history of the Liberation War needs to be recorded both for posterity and history. There are plenty of historical records which need to be collated, annotated, and stored through a deliberate research exercise. These records are available both in Zimbabwe and other countries that supported the revolution. Sites of major battles of the first and second Zimbabwe will be identified in the documentaries produced. Another key activity is to produce detailed biographies of veterans of the liberation struggle and information about their dependents, especially their academic qualifications. Government has been paying for the education of veterans children since 1998, but there is no readily available information on how many there are, where they are, and what they are doing. These dependents should form the nucleus of the labor force required in the companies that the ministry will create. The information will also assist in finding employment for these dependents in other government departments. The resumption of the payment of war victims compensation following the appointment of the Commissioner of War Victims Compensation, who is just given both here and supporting staff. The ministry will commence processing of compensation files for war victims. The process stalled after the appointment of the Zimbabwean Commission in 1998. Accordingly, 5 major exercises are earmarked for implementation in this priority area. And the first one is that of activating more than 17,000 files that were set aside following the appointment of the Zimbabwean Commission, and this will necessitate sending clients for reassessment. The second is that of conscientizing individuals who deserve compensation but are not aware of their entitlements. Most people in the poor areas, some of them will be injured as a result of the war, do not know that they are entitled to compensation, and will want to go out there and conscientize them. The third is that of identifying individuals who passed on during the liberation struggle, and this will entail visiting neighboring countries where some of them are buried. The fourth one, there is need to amend the War Victims Compensation Act to accommodate those who continue to be injured by landmines after the end of the war. Currently, the War Victims Compensation Act recognizes the period 1 January 1962, 29 February 1980 as the period of the war. But as honorable members will be aware, mostly in the border areas, people continue to be injured by landmines well after 1980. These people are not covered in terms of the War Victims Compensation Act, and we want to amend so that we are able to bring them on board. And then finally, establishing boarding houses for war victims where they will be housed when they come for treatment. The projects will start in Harare and Bulawayo before cascading to other cities. In addition, periodic physiotherapy and counseling sessions will be introduced to improve the general physical and mental wellness of our clients. The introduction of the wellness program in 2024 is in line with international best practices for service delivery to people with disabilities. The wellness program will include participation by war victims in both social and economic care. The next priority area is the registration and payment of state assistance to heroes, dependents. You forgot the head Commissioner of Heroes, dependent assistance will be here. A lot of our dependents of our dear departed national heroes, liberation war and liberation heroes, and heroines are not aware of their entitlements. Whilst there have been some preliminary engagements with some of these people in 2022 and 2023, the National Heroes Dependent Assistance Board intends to conduct full-scale registration of heroes and heroines dependents across the country in 2024. This will pave way for the payment of state assistance as defined in the National Heroes Act, Chapter 10:16. And then the last of our priority areas is that of capacitation of provincial and district offices. The ministry requires capacitation in terms of suitable transport and office equipment. Our client community has increased to include war collaborators and non-combatant cadres. It is therefore appropriate that the ministry be capacitated to deal with the increased clientele base. Whilst the primary focus will be on district offices, the head office and provincial offices are in need of transport, office equipment, and furniture. The bulk of the ministry's work entails visiting institutions that provide services like schools and hospitals in the rural areas. All district offices are operating without appropriate vehicles to traverse the rural road network, whilst the few vehicles in the office in the provincial offices are now old and unreliable. There is need for new vehicles to be acquired to improve operational efficiency. Now, these are the priority areas, Honorable Chair, and members of the Ministry 2024, and now I will rumble through the bids. In line with the national priority areas of social protection and health and well-being, and guided by the Vision 2030 pillar of social development, the Ministry of Veterans of the Liberties and Tribal Affairs based the 2024 budget proposals on the priorities that I have already indicated, and the need to comply with the constitutional requirement to provide welfare and economic empowerment benefits to veterans of the liberties and struggle and their dependents, heroes dependents, war victims, and eligible dependents. Treasury, however, is allocated an envelope of $132.2 billion against our total requirement of $5 trillion for the financial year 2024. This allocation constitutes 26% of the ministry's total requirement. And we have tried to summarize what we wanted and what Treasury gave us. Compensation of employees, we put in a bid of $11 billion, but our Treasury gave us $67 billion, I think, in anticipation of the ministry staff, and we are quite grateful for that.
Is the 26 or 2.6?
Yeah, it's 2.6. Oh, I said 26.
Yes.
Sorry, honorable members, it's a 2.6. Sorry about that. And then for ministry's operations, our ideal budget was 93 billion, and we got 11 billion, that's 11.8%. And the social benefits of veterans, heroes and dependents, our bid was for 3.9 trillion, and we were given $33.2 billion. And then acquisition of financial and non-financial assets, our bid was for 113 billion, and we got 20 billion. And then on our constitutional and statutory appropriations, this refers to the war victims compensation. Our bid was $895 billion. And they have not indicated what they will give us. Usually, they indicate this amount when the national budget is presented, so we only get to know about it after they present the national budget. So that's our grand total there, $5.085 trillion, and what we got, $132.2 billion. That's the 2.6% allocation. And as I indicated, the bulk of the ministry's bid was for social benefits, which amounts to $3.9 trillion, or 78% of the total. Over the years, veterans have persistently complained that government is not doing enough to cater for their welfare and economic empowerment as stated in the Constitution. Veterans expect government to timelessly provide funds for their health care and education benefits for their dependents, as they are statutory benefits, and given that their legal pensions are insufficient to cater for these. Sadly, the annual budgets have over the years been inadequate, and actual funding has on most occasions been released late. This situation has led to veterans failing to get medical care at time, whilst their children are humiliated at some schools for late payment of fees. Given the allocation for 2024, indications are that this situation is going to continue. And the impact of the allocated budget is more fully illustrated in subsequent paragraphs. I won't read through all this now, but on employment costs, as I've said earlier on, we've got more than what we agreed. In fact, this ceiling comes as an indication. It is taken from treasure, it is blocked for employment costs. So they gave us 67 billion. We are quite grateful for that. On communication, information supplies and services, we have got 834 billion, whilst we paid 7 billion. And I think it is important to ensure that we get proper internet connectivity at district level. We are now introducing e-government online applications. This is why we wanted to have computers, so that it makes it easier for veterans to apply for their welfare and economic empowerment benefits. And a part of this board was also going to communicate with our veterans regularly and make them aware.
It's the National Heroes Dependents Fund that they talked about. I find it intriguing because I myself am the son of a national hero, and every other year there are the events of heroes, every national hero families gather together. Yet, actually, to be honest with you, it's the first time I've actually ever heard about such a fund. So I just want to make that clarity as to how they communicate to dependents of the national heroes, and why they don't use the opportunity where they are gathered together in one place to disseminate information as such. Because as I said, I've been attending these events since 2014, and no such communications. Some families end up wondering or hearing as a rumor, they don't know for a fact whether these things are there or they're not. Through you, Chair.
Thank you for that question. Remember, the National Heroes Independence Assistance Fund was established in 1985. The National Heroes Act became operational. And in terms of the National Heroes Act, this fund is supposed to be administered by the Heroes Dependence Assistance Board. But ever since the Act came into existence, this board was not in place. This board was appointed in 2021. And after its appointment, this board began outreach programs. As I said earlier on, much of our interaction has been limited to trade fair, provincial shows, where we only engage a limited number of people. And this is why, in terms of the budget, we intend to go out to the rural areas and engage these clients. The fund is used to disperse state assistance to our heroes dependents. This state assistance also includes payment of medical benefits and school fees benefits to dependents of our dear departed national heroes. You'll appreciate that issues to do with the heroes are handled by a number of departments. The Honorable Member spoke about the National Heroes Day, where people converge for those who are coming to the National Heroes Day. That is done by the Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage. They are the ones who administer the administration, who after the administration when they come and attend these events. We are only limited to the provision of assistance, state assistance, which these people should apply. But as I indicated, they don't seem to know what assistance they are entitled to. Hence the need for an outreach program. And this is why, as I said, 2 weeks ago, we did a pilot study in some 4 districts in Marsh East. And what we discovered was that we need to go out there vigorously, communicate with them, talk to them, make them aware of their entitlements, and also register them so that we begin benefiting from the National Heroes Independence Assistance Fund. So that is why it is a priority area in terms of our budget for 2024.
I just want to thank you, General, and your team. I listened through, I thought the very first priority of moving up the vetting of both collaborators and non-communicators is very critical because it helps us understand how big, how small, or the quantum, how big is the ministry, what kind of, as you have categorized them into 4 or 5 categories, we really need to understand our budget should be premised from the number of war veterans that we have, including the different departments, if I may call it that way. So for me, that is a very critical exercise that needs to be prioritized by the ministry. And the second thing is, I was wondering, the statutory or the legislative issues of this particular ministry. Yes, it was a department. It's moving away from the Ministry of Defense and War Veterans Affairs into a standalone ministry. Does, obviously, or needless to say, it will move with the acts from to. Do we have any additional acts or additional statutory or legislative issues that we need to include since it's now a standalone ministry? Probably we may need, as I see there are additional responsibilities that you mentioned that are now falling under the ministry now that it's a standalone ministry. Is there a need to really look into some statutory related issues or some legislative related issues that are critical that will help in operationalization of your ministry? I want to hear more on that. And my third aspect is on the operationalization of district offices. You talked about the head office, the provinces, and then the district offices. From the district where I come as an example, I've not seen it on the ground. Do we have these offices already on the ground? Do we have plans for these offices to be there? Because, Mr. Chair, I believe that's where the people are. We need to start from where they are. I would even prefer that we have the district offices rather than the provincial offices, because the districts are closer to the people. We eliminate issue. That's reasonable, Chair. I've got about 4 minutes. Some are comments, some are specific. From the comment side, I just want to thank you, General and your team, for priority areas that you have brought forth. I was looking at them, to me, they made a lot of sense. It's unfortunate that I have to comment.
As of now, all we intended to do before the department became a ministry was to make a few adjustments to the Veterans Communications Travel Act, to accommodate Botswana, which was not listed as one of the countries in terms of the VNS Act that had transit camps, and we also intend to widen the scope of the 20% quota, not just to land, but to other economic empowerment projects that are offered by various government departments. We also intend to amend, as I said earlier, the War Victims Compensation Act, so that we accommodate those people who were mentioned after the 1880, those people who didn't get mentioned after the deadline of February 1980. And we also intend to amend the War Victims Compensation Act to take on board a few observations that were made by the Digital Commission. But as far as the new ministry and its focus is concerned, after the strategic planning workshop, once we have got these, we will as usual request our committee to support us when these amendments go to Parliament. District officers, indeed, Honorable Member, we are concerned about the status of our district field officers. We recruited them in 2020 and 2021. So there are opportunities in the offices. Some of them are struggling to get office accommodation. Managed to communicate with various government departments, and you can say about 60% of them are in government offices. but the rest are in rented accommodation. We have been able to give them a few tools of trade to use, but this is not ideal. And we have been continuously requesting support so that we capacitate the district food officers. You want them to be mobile. A district is a very huge geographical areas. In some areas, across in more than 100 km, and you don't want the district food officer to start using public transport. In fact, he or she may never even be able to get there. We have also been assured by the Public Service Commission that they will assist, or in fact, they have approved the recruitment of supporting staff so that the district food officers operate with additional staff. Currently, it is only one person there, and when that individual either is away on duty or falls ill or goes on leave, it means that the office is closed. So indeed, we share your concern about capacitating the district food officers. Our intention, as you said, is that our veterans do not need to travel from their district to the provincial office. It's very costly. It's very costly. They just want to go to the district centers and get their services there. I'm happy that despite these limitations, the DFOs have been able to offer some limited service to the veterans. But we need to do more. And this is why we are bidding for additional support. In terms of travel, what I was doing was going through the structure of the chart of accounts. This is why I came to the issue of external travel, trying to go through each ledger item by ledger item. Not really that it is a priority area to go to China or to go to Russia. I was just going through the ledger accounts. But yes, there will be need to benchmark. Benefited from the report of the committee motivated to Namibia. Indeed, they are doing a lot there. In fact, they came to Zimbabwe, learned what we were doing, and then went and began implementing what we did not implement here. So indeed, yes, we need to benchmark with countries in South Africa. Talking about loans, I agree with you, Honorable Chair. They will not start any meaningful project with US $1,000. It's not meaningful at all. That's why the self-help loans, you really cannot run a business venture on $1,000. And that's why we are bidding for additional funding, so that we are able to give something meaningful. In the hope that once you give something meaningful, you win them off gradually.